Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwaraha. Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanye Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namaste Se, Namaste Se, Namaste Se, Namo Namaha. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaya Viche Swaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Vame Yasya Stita Radha Shri Shayasya Asti Vakshasi Vrundavana Viharam Tam Sri Krishna Mrudi Chintaye. Shri Hanuman Ji Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Nitya Satsang, Daily Satsang. Today is the 6th of February 2026. I want to offer prostrations, Anantakoti, Namaskaram, prostrations, obeisances, and circambulations, Pradikshana, and the offering of all divine fruits and flowers at the feet of Sri Radha, Sri Krishna, and all the great sages and all the incarnations of God. And Parabrahma, Ishvara, residing in the heart of every being. We are going to pick up now from day before yesterday, where we were looking at the Shanta Rati. Please remember that the 5 Ratis, Rasas, that are described by Rupa Goswamiji, from the Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara tradition, absolutely beautiful, very nice, and very clear. The 5 Ratis are Shantarati, Dasyarati, Sakhyarati, Vatsalyarati, and Madhurya Rati or Madhurya Rati. So we're going to go further today. If you remember, last time we talked about briefly this verse, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. So this is verse 4.3.23 from Bhagavatam. And I'm going to show you this verse because we're going to look at this verse carefully, primarily because the Shantarati, the state of silence, steadiness, purity, supreme purity, not mundane sattva, but that supreme sattva, that higher level of sattva gun. It's not sattva gun actually. It is beyond the sattva gun. It is like a transcendental level of sattva. So this is called Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. And I want to be very clear because I may have mispronounced. There's a difference between Vasudev and Vasudev. We're going to talk about that also today. I'm going to show you the verse here. Let's take a look at this carefully. You should be able to see this on your screen. So I'm going to go through every single word of verse. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Skand, 4th Canto, chapter 3, verse number 23. Right? So this is the reference connection to better understand the Shanta Rati. Here's the verse and the way the words are spoken. Shri Krishnaya Namaha, Shri Radhaya Namaha. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yat Iyate Tatra Puman Apavrutaha Sattve Cha Tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevaha Hi Adhokshajayaha Adhokshajahaha. That is how that is pronounced. So the first word here is Sattvam. Please keep in mind to understand this word. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, these are the 3 gunas of Maya. Be very clear about the terminology. Hopefully you're taking notes. What are the 3 gunas of Maya? Sattva, Raja, Tam. What is meant by the word gun here? G-U-N-A. Gun doesn't mean transcendental quality. It actually means the qualities of Maya. Within the qualities of Maya, there are the 3. This is classified as 3 qualities, three gunas. So when the word Vishuddham, Sattvam Vishuddham is used, That means that the sattva gun, when a bhakta reaches sattva gun, the influence of rajas and tamas is gone. When there is sustained sattva gun internally, this is an internal journey, right? Hopefully this is very clear. Antarik yatra hai. It's an internal purification. So, again, hopefully this is very clear that the rajas and tamas are seen as utterly limited. We can see the limitations of rajogun. Tamogun is probably easier to see. People don't like to be lazy too much and just not doing anything, low energy. It's a little bit easier, in my opinion. But rajogun is very difficult because we are caught up, most of humanity is trapped inside rajogun, rajas, passion, sexual desires, money, lots of money, position, lots of sense gratifications, tasty foods, etc. All five senses are highly stimulated. The stimulants, nice clothing, exotic perfumes, going to big parties, and all this is all rajas. Sachin is not criticizing anything. There's no criticism. We just want to understand what it is, and then what Brahma Vidya and what the Bhagavatam, Gita, and other scriptures have taught us. That the sattva gun, the sattvic life, the sattvic mindset opens up in a sustained manner once there is clear perception, awareness, and acknowledgement of the boundary of rajogun. I hope this is clear. If there's questions, please ask. You can interrupt if you want to. No, you don't have to wait until 9 o'clock. It's fine. आपको कोई प्रश्न है, आप definitely, or you want to make a comment, it's perfectly okay. But बहुत ध्यान रखना. Because it's not clear for most people what these three gunas are. This word gun also is confusing. There's the word gun, then there's the word, satgun. Satgun is there, or Bhagavan gunatit hai. So there's several words here. We want to be clear. So when we say gun, the word in general means quality, but the three gunas of Maya, which are within Maya, are sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva, raj, tam in short, we can say. Sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, right? These are states of the body, the mind, the emotions, the entire TEMDE, the thought, emotion, memory, desire, energy. The antakarana is colored in these three gunas of Maya. Now there's a much more technical explanation as to where they come from, because they are the experience of the interaction between Karana Sharir through the physical body with the outside world in the subtle body, in the Sukshma Sharir ka anubhave. It is the experience of the subtle body, Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma means subtle. It's not something physical that you can touch. It is a subtle experience. So the three gunas of Maya are inside the antakarana. Antakarana is the man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. Man meaning conscious mind, buddhi meaning intelligence, chitta meaning subconscious mind, ahankar meaning the capacity to possess me and mine, I, the ego. That is called antakarana. It is an instrument. It is a karana means instrument. It is a faculty given through Prakriti for the Jivatma to experience the world of Maya and to eventually reach liberation also. Alright, so hopefully that's all very clear. So now we are going to go further, because to understand this verse, we need to be very clear what is Sattva Gun, and then Sattvam Vishuddham. That is the next level up. So Sattva Gun is such where there is so much realization. It's not just a lot of language and lip service. No, it's an inner vision, realization, and acknowledgement, acceptance. Not because somebody else is saying, one sees it oneself, that there's a boundary of Rajogun. Are we able to do that? Dikhta hai ki boundary kya hai? It is not a rejection of Rajogun. It is not an assault against Rajogun. It is not fighting with Rajogun. It is not criticizing Rajogun. It is choiceless awareness of Rajogun. J. Krishnamurti's language. He doesn't use the word Rajogun, but I'm just combining it together. It's choiceless awareness. To be aware. Okay, what is the form and the limitation of the guna of Rajas, R-A-J-A-S? And you can do some searches if you want more detail on that. It's passions, wanting. I want this and I want this. And, we just are jumping from one thing to another, one desire to another. That activity, and there's energy. great deal of energy is within Rajas. Isn't it so? Look at the world today. Most human beings are trying to get to the point where they can have continuous sukh, meaning happiness, from Rajas. Of course, you need food, water, clothing, shelter, the Maslow's pyramid, if you remember that. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm not going to cover that right now. You can Google that if you want, or ask me about it later. But those are our basic needs. It's a hierarchy. Food, water, clothing, shelter, medical. We need heat. Like now it's going to be very cold the next couple of days. Right? Everyone needs heat. Yes, we have our basic necessities. That's all part of life. But once they are met, the desire is that I want more of that experience. We all need to eat food. Body needs food. Body is made from food. But then the different tastes, the different dishes, the different restaurants, there's such a range. We've talked about this before. The Uttam Madhyam Kanishth in Sanskrit, and then the translation would be highest quality of Rajasic experience. Medium quality, that is Madhyam, and lower quality, Kanishth. Go to Taco Bell and have a bean burrito. Lower quality, let's say. Go to a little bit of higher class restaurant, the same thing, more embellished with some sauces and all that. You pay $10 for the dish, medium quality. Go to even a more fancy Italian restaurant, Mexican restaurant. You pay $25 for the dish that has some more material and fancy way it's made. Uttam, same burrito, same beans. Uttam Madhyam Kanishta. See, you can learn Brahma Vidya from a bean burrito at Taco Bell. Don't worry about it. You can learn Brahma Vidya from everything in life. If you know how to learn it, see the range. This entire sansar is within this range. Human body is like that. Look at all the actors and actresses and all those things that are there. They're very super attractive. Response is created, medium, lower level. Gunatidanand Swami says, Akku Brahmand Strinu Bhajan Kare. What that means is, whole world is running after beautiful women, right? Women that appear beautiful, more accurately. Men that appear handsome. This is all Rajas, R-A-J-A-S, Rajogun. Most of humanity is just within that Rajogun. Energy is used for that experience. And yes, if it is done within a certain range, certain way, certain limits and all that without harming oneself, then one can get those experiences by working for them, going after them, working and having money and other things. And that is the exchange through which these experiences are available. Obviously, just go to the mall and you can find all kinds of fancy stores and clothing and this and that. It's all Rajas. You see, so that's what it is. Most of it is, 99% is Rajogun. Different food courts and all that. If you go to the mall for the experience and understanding of the boundary of Rajogun, mall is an excellent place. I want to hold a retreat actually one day at my place. We'll start it here for half an hour, 45 minutes, and go straight to the mall with 10, 15 people to experience Brahma Vidya in the mall. How do we do that? How is it done? It can be done when you are in that awareness of what is going on, the activity of Maya. You see, so that is amazing. It's not a criticism. It is observation, perception. All right, having understood that, there's one more point to keep in mind. That most human beings are within the Rajas framework, and then they dip down to Tamas, Rajas. Little bit of Sattva is there. To some extent it is there. The percentage is very low. And then they just die like that. That's all that happens. That's the way it goes. There's only one person that has to be changed is oneself out of the dimension of the Sattva Gun, into Shuddha Sattvam. People are so concerned about improving the world. The world will take care of itself. We improve ourselves. We're doing the seva so that we don't get trapped in the world. This is why the attitude of seva, and also the ahankar doesn't come from spirituality. We have to live with the people in the world, help them, serve them, everything. Seva, muktishya gamyatam, seva ki jo baat hai. Seva has to be done. It's not an escape from the world. Serve others. We have to improve the environment, help human beings, help everyone with the attitude of seva. That is going to help progress. But new people are coming in with their causal bodies that are coming from Rajas, Tamas, from Naraklok, Swarglok. They're coming from all places. The world, this sansar is going to remain just like that. It has always, there have been over 7,000 recorded wars. There are wars going on continuously. And they will continue to go on. Do not expect all human beings to reach that Vasudeva Kutumbakam. It's never going to happen. The only person that has to reach Vasudeva Kutumbakam is oneself. The rishis who wrote that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, they were living in that sthiti, and their light manifested in those who were blessed enough, who could connect with them, got the blessing and got out of the sansar. Everybody else is just stuck and trapped for millions of lifetimes. That's all. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Iha sansare bahudustare krupaya pare pahi murari bhaji govindam bhaji govindam. Right? So, this notion of externalized improvement, let that go. Completely let that go. And let that go and improve oneself. Completely cut attention on oneself, the world will take care of itself. Automatically, people around us will be affected. Automatically, our seva will be done. It's not that I'm improving the world or I'm doing seva. No, seva is being done as karma yoga to please God. And the world, whatever improvement, certain amounts of improvement will be there. Urdhva mula madashakam ashvatam prahuravayam chandasiyasya paranani yastam vedasa vedavit. Right? Asanga shastrina. I've mentioned this many, many times. That cutting of the sansar out of the mind while living in the sansar, we're living in it. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. Then Purna Vairagya is there. As I mentioned before, I hope this is not too strong for anybody, but it might be. But jo Satya hai, wo Satya hi hai. Not because of Sachin. Forget Sachin. There is no Sachin here. There is only the reality of the Brahma Vidya. And the truth is always the truth. And that is not anybody's opinion. And until and unless we can open that dimension of pure, unobstructed Sattvam Vishuddham, purity, harmony, pure love, there is no chance for anybody in this world. Even big saints, Ramakrishna Paramas, Vivekananda Swami, I've heard somewhere, I have to find the reference, Vivekananda Swami did so much seva. At the end, there's some statement, I don't want to misquote him, but I have to find the exact quote. But somewhere he has said at the end of this is just, I've done all this, but I have to watch out for my own ahankar. That one should not do any seva with ahankar. Be careful that I'm doing something for somebody else. Unhone kitni seva ki? How many volumes of Vivekananda Swami are there? The complete works of Vivekananda Swami. I have them at home. You can find them online. They're for free. You can find them. Thousands of pages have been written. But there's no ego. Kitni badi baat hai. See, this is a guidance for us. How Vivekananda Swami did so much seva, but there is no ahankar that I'm doing it. He followed the agnya of Ramakrishna Paramahansa and did his seva. And that's it. Is it benefiting people in the world? Yes. Of course. He didn't say that, the whole world is just meaningless and useless and it's asanga shastrena dridina chitva, and then just said, just to throw all this thing out, just as I said right now. He did throw that out, but he also served the world. Now both things are happening at the same time. This is how that Shantarati opens up. When you have asanga shastrena dridena chitva, this verse from the Gita, so inside there's total vairagya or gyan. Gyan and vairagya are two sides of the same coin. And with that, one is living in the world, doing seva for family, friends, people. There's total seva bhav. It is not where one is just sitting like everything is just meaningless, everything is useless, everything is just nashwant, and everything is temporary and meaningless. No. Even though it is temporary, even though it is binding, even though everybody is bound, most of the people are bound, that is an opportunity through the grace of God for seva. It is not to criticize the people who are bound. I hope that this is why my Sachin's prarthana is to listen to these talks thoroughly. Don't just pick up one piece of that. This happens many times with people who are expounding these things. Somebody will pick up something from YouTube and pick up some 5 minutes of listen to the whole thing. Then you get the whole picture. So be very careful about Jnana and Vairagya. It has been misunderstood in Sanatana Dharma tremendously. People have left their homes and have run away and done all kinds of crazy things. And that's not Vairagya. Vairagya isn't running away anywhere. Vairagya is total involvement in the world without raga and dvesha. This is the way the Gita defines it. This is the way the Gita defines sannyas. The definition of sannyas in the Bhagavad Gita is that one is performing activity and renouncing the attachment to the fruits of action. One is not renouncing action. Chapter 3 of the Gita. Nobody can renounce action. How can you renounce action? There's action is of 3 times: mental, verbal, physical. You cannot renounce it. Renouncing meaning sab chhod diya. Sansar chhod. You cannot. Sansar kya chhod de? Sansar koi nahi chhod sakta. It's impossible. You cannot leave the world. Until this body is there, one is in the world. Where are you going to go? It is a change, a transformative, sublimated change of vision that all reality is temporary, anitya. This is it's just a vision only. And in that vision, there is a retraction out of raga and dvesha, the attraction, repulsion. The dualities are, the energy is pulled out of dvanda, dvandatitam. And when energy, Shakti, is pulled out of the dvanda, then that same Shakti transmutes, same energy opens up into 100% sattvic, mundane sattva gun. And from mundane sattva gun, it takes a jump by the grace of Bhagavan and great saints, by their grace, because they are beyond the 3 gunas of Maya. And they take us into Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. Now this verse begins. This is the background. I hope this is clear. These are the stages. Hope it's clear. Now let's go into this verse very carefully and slowly. We need hours and hours for this. It really is. But whatever the divine will, it's okay. We do what we can in the time we have. Let's look at this verse carefully. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. You see, the word here is not Vasudeva, it's Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva comes later on. What is the difference between the two? There's a difference. You can see it right here. I've highlighted it here for you. Okay, so the word Vasudev, one of the interpretations, refers to the state of consciousness within our mind that is completely transparent and free from the material modes. Historically, it refers to Krishna's father. Bhagavan Krishna, his father, is called Vasudev. But its meaning for us internally is that our chitta, our mental stuff, our mental framework is transparent. It's totally transparent. What does that mean actually? How does the chitta become transparent? Let's talk about that. See, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. What is that transparency? Shabditam. Shabditam it is called. So our internal mechanism can reach transparency. That's a realization. Where am I right now in my internal world? Mera antar ka jagat kaisa hai? What is my inner world like? Even to realize that takes time. This is why when we do mantra sadhana, we do 9 forms of devotion, Navadha Bhakti. As we continue that process of Navadha Bhakti, there is increased awareness of the blockages inside, Rajsik, Tamsik, the different blockages, obstructions. We become aware of internal obstruction. And that obstruction is seen as obstruction. It is called avrana in Vedanta. Avrana and vikshep. There's some technical language there. We won't go into that right now. We can see it experientially. This is a block. That's a big thing. It's an internal journey. It's all it is. It has nothing to do with something external. It's an internal realization that I can perceive, or the mind perceives its own bondage. Man eva manushanam karanam bandha mokshayo. So this internal perception begins to happen as we become more established in Navavidha Bhakti, Navadha Bhakti, 9 forms of devotion. That is the doorway. We've talked about Navadha Bhakti before, but it's a matter of practicing and a matter of doing it on a regular basis, which we're doing every day in the morning here, from 7 o'clock till about 9:30 or maybe longer sometimes. Every day, this is Navadha Bhakti. And by engaging in Navadha Bhakti systematically, slowly, carefully, there is awareness of blockage. And the mantra, Bhagwan ka jo mantra, the power of mantra, stotra, shastra, all three. But mantra particularly, and stotras can become mantras also once we repeat them and chant them. Mananam trayate. When you are doing mananam, repetition, that becomes a mantra. You can take a shloka of the Gita and you can become mantra. Like in my case, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, or in Sachin's case, I mentioned this verse so many times. Why? Is it becoming a mantra? Is it a mantra? Is it interconnected inside my mental framework? That is called tantra. The interconnection of the verse weaving together internally, that is called tantra. So the mantra is then within the dimension of tantra. And then through the process of manan chintan, as we mentioned yesterday, nididhasanam, the realization of the reality, the satyam, that is behind the words, or that the words are pointing to, or the words are the swarup, the form of that. That realization is called sakshatkar. That realization, adveshta sarva bhutanam, actually is there in life. That actual realization is the goal. Everything else is a means to that goal. Right? So these points should be clear. Now, having said this, our evolution from inside really takes off once the blockages dissolve. The internal blockages of raga, dvesha, mera, tera, mine and yours, me versus you, the egotistical negative ego, all internal blockages, the 6 major faults, shadripu, 6 inner enemies, all that thing is obliterated. I don't want to keep talking about those things. We've talked about it before in past recordings, and they're available. And there you can look it up also. Just you can put in 6 ripu, shadripu, and you can find all the information. Information is now available to everybody in every way. But it's not just about information. We have to realize, right? So assuming because we want to go into the Bhagavatam in the RAS PANCHADHAYI, this is the background. We're assuming that this has already happened. That already the Rajogun, Tamogun it has no influence anymore. If it still has influence, we have a long way to go still. If it still has influence, we have to get to Sattvagun. Long way to go, meaning that realization is not there. You're still playing with toys. Small things. Somebody's 50 years old and still thinking that the Monopoly game is real. And crying and shouting and screaming. That's what people are doing in this financial world. They're all children on balak buddhi hai. Unko kuch gyan hi nahi hai. And they're hurting each other usually. And they die like that. That's all that happened. They're reborn again and again and again, chasing those experiences. So that has to go completely from the mind. That all of this activity, the rajasic and tamasic activity going on inside the mental framework, as long as that is seen as predominant, then Bhagavan kehte, I'll continue. Keep going in that. And then die like that one day. That's all. And then be reborn chasing that somebody's house, somewhere become a bird, ant, insect, whatever, child, spider. That's all that will happen. Nothing else will happen out of it. You'll become a small baby in somebody's home because you're chasing that thing still. So we don't realize kitna power hai isme, kya these saints have given us. There's doorway out, moksha dwaram apavrutam. That's why even to get satsanga, to do satsanga, to read these scriptures, bahut bada bhagya hona chahiye. It's by krupa, it's by readiness for that. And that readiness that can only come when you see the boundary of Rajogun. Rajas. Iski boundary hai. And the whole sansar is doomed in this, trapped in it. You can take any place, any organization, there's a hierarchy, people are vying for position and power. But you'll notice there are some, even for-profit organizations, they have seva bhav. That everybody's on the same link, we want to do seva. There are places like that. There are people like that. And it becomes divine. It becomes absolutely beautiful to go into work. Work is not seen like I cannot, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. So I don't want to keep mentioning these things, but I'm mentioning them anyway because this has to be completely gone beyond, eliminated. It completely. Otherwise, there's no chance of Vishuddha Sattva. How can that happen? It can never open, actually. Right? So we see this is why people are sick, they're ill, they're trapped, they're stuck. This is why we have Angel Wing program. Our Angel Wing program is to encourage everyone to walk a path towards personal development, right? So that's the background. Now, having said this, let's go further. That the blockages get obliterated. How? You might ask how? Navda Bhakti. 9 forms of devotion. And in those 9 forms of devotion, there is the interconnectedness of keeping the senses within a healthy boundary. If we don't keep our senses within a healthy boundary, our mind remains contaminated. We have to decide with our all 5 senses what to see, what to hear, what to speak, how much to speak, what to taste, what to smell, what to touch. That viveka has to be there. If we don't have that discriminative capacity, discrimination doesn't mean racial discrimination. What ought to be experienced, what ought not to be experienced. This is called swadharma. This is called dharma. Dharma means this, sad acharan. Dharma doesn't mean religious affiliation or groupism and all that. Forget that nonsense. That has nothing to do with spirituality at all. Right? So dharma means sat acharan. Acharan is a Gujarati word. It means activity. And that activity has viveka. What should I be seeing that is going to keep my mind, my internal world purified and brimming with good energy? What should I be hearing that is going to keep my internal world brimming with good energy? Goodness, sattva, that is going to enhance sattva gun. Yes, these are our practical exercises. What should I be speaking to all that is going to keep me free, unbounded, and increase sattva gun? What should I be touching that is going to increase sattva gun? Touch karna hai? Take some flowers, take some fruits, take and offer them at the feet. Bhagwan ki jo murti hai, Bhagwan ki, the murtis that are there. At home we may have pictures or paintings or, you have the vigraha, archa vigraha. भगवान के जो चरण है उनको भाव से स्पर्श करना है, भगवान और भगवान के संत के चरणों को स्पर्श करना. Otherwise the sparsh indriya, the sexual vasana is all based on the sparsh indriya completely. And people are lost and trapped inside that, wanting that rajasic experience. And they just keep going further. Yeah, their experience is there. But that has its own boundary. Sparsh indriya mein se sab aata hai, all the entire sexual response cycle is from there. So sparsh karna hai, to Bhagwan ke charanon ka sparsh karna. Pushpa, flowers, items that we offer at the feet of Paramatma. Bhagwan ke jo bhakta hai, when we go to temples, we do the sparsha, we touch with our hands the feet of the devotees, the steps of the temple. Charandraj, you take the dust that is on the steps of the mandir and put that on the forehead. Charandraj. This is the use of sparsha indriya. स्पर्श इंद्रिय किस प्रकार के यूज होता है? Just for अहंकार, राजस. Yeah, if you want to do that, then what else? And see where that goes. इसमें से क्या मिलता है? See, कुछ तो मिलता है. Something is there. There's a rajasic experience. That experience is limited. And with all the problems with STDs and everything else, HIV, STDs, gonorrhea, syphilis, all God knows whatever else is there. How many STDs are there? Think about it. You see, so how many people are stuck in these clinics? Sparsh indriya ka dosh. Not having the viveka, not having gyan, not having any kind of purview of where to place one's senses. Then there's a price to pay. Even if the STTs and other things are not there, there's all kinds of emotional problems that happen, jumping from one person to another. There's brain damage that can happen out of hyperstimulation of the brain due to drugs and pornography and things like that. You know, there's who knows what can happen, right? We don't know what can happen. So you have to see all that stuff. But most of human beings are totally trapped inside Rajas. And they're losing their Shakti. Bhagwan has given Shakti, they're destroying it. Kam, Krodh, Lobh. Bhagwan Krishna Swayam kehte hai, ye nark ke dwar hai. Why is that? Because the internal Kundalini is damaged. So this has to stop. If this is still going on in anybody's life, Sachin की तो बहुत प्रार्थना है भगवान को और आप सबके चरणों में कि ये stop कर दीजिए. Take a path out of this thing. If this is still going on, make a decision. Take a mala. Go to a mandir or do it at a home mandir में. भगवान के जो संत परंपरा, इतने beautiful saints are there. Today present, in the past also. You can Google them. You can see their pictures, photos online. Just touch their picture. And say, hey Prabhu, aap daya kijiye. That's all that's needed actually. You know, and from that make a determination that this damage, I'm going to stop the damage from inside. That decision at some point has to be made. That we can make that decision today, we can make it now, or we can make it 100 years from now, or 1,000 lifetimes from now, or 1 billion lifetimes from now. There is no liberation until that decision is made. This is written in Vachanamrut. Maharaj स्वयं कहते, आज समझो, काले समझो, 1000 बरस पछी समझो, समझा बगैर छुटको નથી. You see, this is a Gujarati language, right? Maharaj is Vachanamrut में लिखा है. We understand now or 1 million lifetimes from now. So why not understand now? Why not decide? It's a decision capacity that I am not going to damage myself out of Rajogun, Tamogun. Bhagavad Gita is clear. Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vidyena, Iha Vairinam. There's a verse, I don't remember the full verse right now. Rajoguna Samudbhavaha, Mahashano, I forgot the first part of it. But it basically says that the Rajas is such that it is seen as damaging, as an enemy inside. Enemy, I mean, not in terms of like fighting, not that, but about because it's a voracious energy vampire, Rajogun. Itni shakti wo kha jata hai. Because in the Rajogun is ahankar hai, aham vritti hai isme. And it wants that particular type of experience. People drive for 100 miles to go to a particular restaurant because if they want to have that one dish made by I've mentioned this before. People do this all the time. Their mind is fixed on that one experience. This is a bandhan ka swarup hai. It's not mukta sthiti. People are running for this thing, that thing. It's very powerful. You cannot get out of that. And Rajogun has a place in life also. It's not, you cannot reject it completely. You will not be able to, in fact. One has to go through it usually to get out of it. But it's extremely difficult. Easy to get trapped inside there. Right? So when there is awakened realization through Anubhav, that's why Grahasthashram, householder life is important. That allows us to see the boundary of Rajas. But if Grahasthashram is used, let's put it this way, if Grahasthashram is used to see the boundary of Rajogun, fantastic. Then it is the best use of Grahasthashram. If a person gets trapped inside there, there's trouble. Rebirth upon rebirth. So there's two possibilities. Grahasthashram is the ideal ashram for mukti because you can see the bondages. It's even better than the Tyag ashram, other ashram, because you're in the midst of the whole madness of the world. In the midst of it, and you're living above it, like a lotus living above the mud. That opportunity is granted by God in Grahasthashram. You're living with everyone, but still you're independent completely. With love and affection, this is something very interesting. And if there's vairagya from the beginning, then you don't have to go into Grahasthashram. But vairagya nahi hai in Grahasthashram, in the life. The vairagya is missing. then one has to, Rajogun is there, all these desires are there, then you have to go through and see its boundary. Hopefully the boundary can be seen and then get out of it. Get out internally of that. Otherwise one will be doomed inside there, trapped for lifetimes, not just one lifetime. That is the spiritual science. So to be out of that trap is to recognize the boundary of Rajogun and to keep the mind connected inside Bhagavan, inside devotion, Manan Chintan. So the mind uplifts, rises above the fluctuations of this material world. And when it begins to rise, then there's Sattvam. Sattva increases. Sattva gun increases. And now, when Sattva gun increases to the point where Rajas and Tamas are completely obliterated. There's still within Maya, by the way. But that life is an absolutely fantastic life. There's no conflict with anybody. There's purity. There's bhakti going on. Itna anand. It's ananda is part of Anandamaya Kosh. Now the state beyond that is where this verse begins. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. This verse, from 4.3.23, Bhagavatam. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. Why it is called Vasudev? Because the Sattva is now Vishuddha Sattva. My God. Amazing. And it is known that way. Shabditam Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yat Iyate. It is revealed. Tatra Puman. Here Puman means the Supreme Paramatma is revealed in that Vishuddha Sattvam. Revelation hota hai iska. Anubhav hota hai. Bhagwan ka anubhav hota hai isme. There's no obstruction. Apavrutaha. All obstructions goes away. Completely, all the coverings are gone. That is the state of realization. Mukta sthiti. One is a liberated being. And in that sattva, sattve cha tasmin meaning in that sattva, in that higher pure consciousness, in that Vishuddha sattva, Bhagavan Vasudevaha. Bhagavan aate hai isme. He comes and says, he Bhagavan Vasudevaha, he Adhoksha Jayaha, Adhoksha Jahaha. I'm not saying that word. The last part, I have to watch the language there. Adhoksha Jahaha. There's a ha at the end there, but it has to be spoken that way. Adhoksha Jahaha. Adhoksha Jahaha. Adhoksha Jaha. It's actually Adhoksha Jaha. That's what it is. I'm still not saying that correctly. Adhoksha Jaha. That's how it is pronounced. Jaha. You see, so Adhoksha Jaha. Adhoksha means beyond the senses. Our five senses are giving us experience of this world. Very interesting. Right? So, Bhagavan Vasudevaha. Bhagavan Vasudevaha. He Adhoksha Jaha. That is correctly pronounced now. Sorry about the mispronunciation. I've never studied Sanskrit in my life, but somehow we can read this to some extent at least. It's really, really very beautiful to understand these points. Because Bhagavan is beyond our senses. Shabdatit, Indriyatit, Gunatit, wo par tattva hai. But that par tattva, that divya tattva, jo Bhagavat tattva hai, is revealed. That supreme person is revealed. Iyate tatra puman. Apavrutaha. Iyate tatra puman. Puman means the supreme person. Tatra means in that state of Vishuddha Sattva. That Paramatma, that supreme person, iyate tatra puman, is revealed. And when that revelation is there, before the revelation, during the revelation, after the revelation, The shloka says beautifully, Me namasa vidhiyate. I'm offering my obeisances. Vidhiyate means to worship. I'm offering who's worshipped by me. वो उपासना की बात आ गई इसमें. What? This is the Bhagavatam. Every word, 18,000 verses are there. Sthiti ki baat hai. It's a matter of taking a journey. So what is our sadhana for today? Actually, there's only one sadhana. Who am I? I am, or my inner world is Vishuddha Sattvam. Sattvam Vishuddham, that's me. Mera man, stay with that. Even if Rajogun, Tamogun are there, ignore it. Recognize its boundary. If you want to keep playing around with that, then that's your choice. Hamara sab ka choice. You want to keep playing around with that, play around with it. और भगवान की मूर्ति के साथ रमण करना है, राधा रमण हरि बोल. भगवान की मूर्ति, with the form of God, to play with the form of God, allow the mind to play with the form of God. That is our choice. We can either play with the objects of the senses, or we can play with the mind. We can play Raman. Bhagwan na swarup ma Raman karu, to absorb inside in a very beautiful way with Bhagwan Krishna, Radhaji, Ishtadevata. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yat iyate tatra puman apavrutaha sattve cha tasmin bhagavan vasudevaha hi adokshajah me namasa vidhiyate. Now the pronunciation is correct. Sorry about the mispronunciation. I have to review these a little bit more carefully. It's not language we speak every day. That's why it's a little bit tricky. This is Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam ka kitna, look at the power of this language. What Vedvyas ji has written, Vedvyas ji is the writer, Shukdev ji is the expounder. Oh, Bhagwan ke avatar the. It's not any ordinary human being has written this. 4.3.23. Let it come inside. Sattvam Shuddham, or Sattvam Vishuddham. Vishuddha Sattva mein jana hai. This is the saintly quality. Kitne sant ke pure gun hai isme. If you think about all the saintly qualities, the 64 qualities, the 39 qualities, the divine qualities in chapter 16 of the Gita, all of this is within this verse. It is realization, anubhav. Right? So let's stop here for now. We were at least able to cover this verse today, which is really beautiful, by Krupa, Bhagwan Krishna ki daya, Krupa, by His grace. And on that basis, let's continue further tomorrow. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshi Sarvadaumai Mrim Klim Chamundai Viche Swaha Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha Swaha Om Durga Rakshani Tata Swaha Om Rim